I'm calling you out. Yes, you, because you want to have the best Disney World vacation ever, right? So it's about time you learn everything you can about Disney's moderate resorts just in case they end up being the right fit for you. I am super jazzed about this video. I think you're going to love it. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and it's time to learn everything you need to know about staying at what Disney calls a moderate resort, which is a mid-priced resort in the Disney World bubble. Moderate resorts are that middle ground between value hotels and deluxe hotels, giving you a more affordable option for a slightly swankier stay. But what moderate resorts are there to choose from? What's the deal with these? Should you choose them? I am glad you asked. It is time to meet your moderate resort contestants. Contestant number 1 is a fun beach-themed getaway with lots of quirky colors and steel drums aplenty. Give it up for Caribbean Beach Resort. Contestant number 2 embraces a family-friendly version of the Mardi Gras party scene down in New Orleans with its Creole specialties and live jazz music. Let's give a round of applause to Port Orleans French Quarter. Contestant number 3 is actually the second half of Port Orleans, but instead of highlighting Mardi Gras, it focuses more on the rural parts of Louisiana with hotel buildings reminiscent of white columned mansions and backwoods cottages. Everyone say hello to Port Orleans Riverside. And finally, we've got contestant number 4, a resort that's artistic and elegant and completely inspired by Mexican, Spanish, and Southwest American influences. Welcome to the stage, Coronado Springs and Gran Destino Tower. Now, once upon a time, those of you who have been following our videos for a while and are old school Disney fans, we used to have a 5th contestant in the moderate resort scene, the cabins at Fort Wilderness. But this past summer, the cabins were snatched up by Disney Vacation Club and completely remodeled from the classic log cabin to those sleek modern cabins that, according to Disney, are inspired by the resort's idyllic setting. So now those are deluxe resorts. So even though we're strictly focusing on the mods today, we got a full and free guide of all the Disney hotels you can choose from, and you can access it too by scanning the QR code you see on the screen right now or by heading to disneyfoodblog.com/hotels after this. Through this guide, you're going to find hotel price ranges, quick recaps of what each hotel is offering you, and a full ranking list of every resort, including all the major pros and cons that you need to watch out for. So grab that right now. We'll send it right to your inbox. It's totally free. But in the meantime, let's head back to the moderate resort overview. Moderate resorts can be misleading. While they're definitely still in the moderate category, some of these rooms try to disguise themselves as deluxe level rooms with how swanky and stylish they are. But let's start with the basics first and work our way up. Each of the moderate resorts has the classic standard rooms that'll feature either 2 queen beds or 1 king bed, or 2 queen beds and a child-sized pull-down bed if you choose the 5th sleeper option. Standard rooms can also be upgraded to preferred rooms for an extra $20 to $30 per night if you want a room that's closer to your hotel's main amenities, like the feature pool, the lobby, the gift shop, or transportation services. Now, at Port Orleans French Quarter, that's basically all the options you've got to choose from. You can get a standard room or a preferred room, which is still set up as a standard, just with better real estate. But at Port Orleans Riverside, you've got the additional option of the Royal Guest Rooms. And these are some of our team's favorite hotel rooms on Disney property. I am not kidding. These rooms make you forget that you're staying in a moderate hotel because they are very cool and so themed. These are heavily themed around Disney's royal posse with magic carpet flooring, beautiful wall art of fan favorite Disney princesses, a personalized letter from Tiana welcoming you as her distinguished guest, sinks shaped like magic lamps, and even headboards that burst to life with LED fireworks. And best of all, they're still not going to be nearly as expensive as a stay in one of the deluxe resorts, so you can still live out your bougie Disney dreams without having to break the bank. I just stayed in one of these rooms last weekend, and I'm telling you, every single time I looked up, I saw something new, so it's very cool. But let's not completely discount the designs going on inside some of those French Quarter rooms. Just recently, French Quarter introduced us to its newly renovated rooms inside buildings 1 and 2, where you're going to find beautiful detailing on the headboards, bright orange accent pillows, Mardi Gras bead decorations, and Princess and the Frog artwork. But then you've got Caribbean Beach Resort. Now, for the most part, the rooms are pretty standard here, but there are quite a few 5th sleeper options, and there are the new-ish Little Mermaid themed 5th sleeper rooms, which replaced the former Pirates themed rooms. Depending on how you look at it, this was either a major W or a major L in Disney's book. I do miss being able to sleep in a pirate ship though. But some of the best moderate hotel rooms can be found over on the Coronado Springs scene, more specifically in the Gran Destino Tower. The tower not only has standard room options, but it also has club level rooms and suites too. Club level is a special room category that's usually reserved for the deluxe resorts, but Gran Destino is the one exception. If you're staying in club level accommodations, you'll have access to a special lounge that offers snacks and beverages throughout the day, and you'll also receive planning advice before your visit, along with a dedicated concierge desk on site to help you get any last-minute advanced dining reservations and other vacation add-ons like tours or dessert parties. Just keep in mind that club level rooms are only available in Gran Destino Tower. Outside of that, Coronado Springs offers up pretty much standard rooms, along with the additional one-bedroom suite, which sleeps up to 6 adults, and the executive suite, which sleeps up to 8 adults over in the casitas section of the resort. Now, just to set the stage, Coronado Springs is a little bit swankier. It's kind of moderate plus, especially in the Gran Destino Tower, and this is because this is a conference resort, so you're going to have a lot of conferences going on here, so there'll be a lot of people in suits every once in a while, and so they're kind of upping the level of amenities. This resort will also have 2 fitness centers, it has a salon, stuff like that, which you're not going to find at the other moderate resorts. Okay, we're moving on to transportation. When it comes to the mods, complimentary transportation is pretty black and white. We love it or we don't. For Port Orleans French Quarter and Riverside, the only way you're getting to the parks while using Disney's free transportation is by hopping on a bus. While French Quarter only has 1 bus stop you'll have to worry about, Riverside has 4. And believe me, that resort is massive. I got literally lost about 4 or 5 times when I was at that hotel, and I've stayed there before. So anyway, heads up. But that brings us to the biggest problem with Disney's moderate resorts, and it's those internal bus loops. The concept of the internal bus loop is great in theory, because Coronado Springs, Caribbean Beach, and Riverside are so spread out that having multiple bus stops means you never have to worry about having to walk a forever long distance just to get to a bus pickup point. Nor do you have to worry about walking a forever long distance to get back to your hotel room at the end of the night. However, because of these bus loops, especially during peak travel times, like at the beginning of the day when people want to get over to rope drop the parks, the buses can fill up before you're able to get on one if your bus stop is located toward the end of the loop. So instead of just hopping on the next bus that comes your way, you might be stuck waiting at your stop and watching 2 to 3 more buses come and go before you're finally able to board one. And that's a major time suck and kind of annoying. So if you're relying on the buses to take you over to the parks first thing in the morning, try to get to your bus stop earlier rather than later on to factor in that extra time that you could wind up waiting to board a bus. Or if you want to skip the internal bus loop drama altogether, you can always save money and invest in a rideshare or a minivan instead. So are buses the only transportation options for the moderate resorts? At Coronado Springs, yes. For Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter, you've also got the water taxis at your disposal, which will take you on over to the Disney Springs shopping district. And that's really nice because it's going to open up even more dining opportunities for you to choose from, aside from just the dining offered at the Port Orleans resorts, which I'll talk more about later on. It's not bad. I actually really like it. And then there's Caribbean Beach, which isn't just located on the Skyliner route, but is the home of the Skyliner's main hub. Now, Caribbean Beach Resort has always kind of been the ugly stepsister of the moderate resort group. There's lots of reasons why, but when it got a Skyliner station, y'all, it was elevated. So when it comes to the good, the bad, and the ugly, Caribbean Beach doesn't fall any longer into the bad and the ugly. Now it's like a primo place to stay because you've got that Skyliner route attached. Anyway, the Skyliner can transport you to other resorts along the route, as well as directly over to Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios. While this transportation convenience is super fab, it can also be a pain in the tuchus sometimes. Since Caribbean Beach is so spread out, some hotel rooms will actually be closer to the Riviera Skyliner station rather than the Caribbean Beach one. So you'll just have to check your resort map and see which one your room is closest to. The hub can also be pretty hop-in with guests, especially at the beginning and end of the park days. So if you're trying to rope drop a park or leave right after one of the nighttime spectaculars, don't expect these gondolas to be a walk-on wait. They're still convenient, but they're also busy. But do you know what's really cool about the Caribbean Beach Skyliner, besides the fact that it exists, period? It has its own little Joffrey's kiosk with an exclusive drink dedicated to the Skyliner itself. It's called the Toffee Flight Latte. This is made with sea salt, caramel, toffee, and dark chocolate, topped with toffee crumbles, and a cloud of whipped cream. Okay, so this was either the point you were waiting for me to discuss or the point you were absolutely dreading, but either way, it's time to talk about prices. When it comes to standard rooms at each of the moderate hotels, expect that price range to fall around $300 to $400 per night. The royal guest rooms at Riverside, as majestic and beautimous as they are, won't put you back a whole lot more than the standard options will, and they usually range around $400 to $450 per night. Meanwhile, over at Coronado Springs, you got those higher end options to consider, which include more space and or more premium benefits. While the club level rooms inside Grand Destino Tower will be your most affordable club level option on property, they're not going to be cheap by any means. Depending on what club level room type you choose and what time of year you're visiting, your lowest club level prices here are going to range around $650 to $700 per night, while your highest club level prices can reach $1,400 to $2,600 plus per night. Doesn't sound very moderate price, does it? Just wait until we release our deluxe resorts video and then your jaw is really going to be dropping. But for Coronado Springs 1-bedroom suite inside their Casitas building, those rack rate prices tend to push over the $1,000 per night mark, while the executive suite option is around $1,550 per night. Again, that's the Casitas building, so that's not the tower that you're in. Now, while I really do love Coronado Springs, especially Grand Destino Tower, you're really going to have to think about whether or not splurging for one of these bougie rooms is really going to be worth it in the end. For the 1-bedroom suite, you could always find a cheaper suite option over at the All-Star Music Hotel instead, which pretty much has all the same in-room amenities as the Casita suite can offer at half the price. Now, of course, you've got hotel amenities that you're not going to get at All-Star Music if you book in Grand Destino Tower, but we've already gone through all of that, so that's where the difference comes in there. But the 1-bedroom suite at Coronado isn't going to give you a refrigerator, a kitchen, etc., and All-Star Music does. Now, as for the executive suite at Coronado Springs, you might prefer just housing your bigger group in a way more affordable Airbnb or Vrbo offsite instead, especially if you were already planning on relying on your own set of wheels or ride shares to help you get around. And one of the biggest controversial elements in Disney hoteling that honestly I've been talking about for 20 years on forums and things like that is, should you pay for the club level benefits if you're not really going to use them? Are you really going to use them? It can definitely be worth the price if you are going to go hang out at the club level lounge regularly or eat all of your meals there. Or if you're going to take advantage of those concierge services, perfect. Then it's probably worth it. But if you could have easily paid for a standard room at the Grand Destino Tower and it gives you a similar room at hundreds, possibly even thousands of dollars less, that's probably more worth it if you're not going to spend a big chunk of time in the club level lounge or using the concierge services. Not to mention, you got to remember that at the end of the day, you're still paying potentially thousands of dollars each night to stay at a moderate resort, meaning you're still not going to receive those deluxe resort benefits like extended evening hours, despite paying deluxe resort looking prices for some of these rooms. And if those benefits are a big reason why you want to stay at a Disney hotel in the first place, you could always pay less for a standard room at a deluxe resort and still receive not only potentially better transportation options, but also those extended evening hours too. That being said, I still have a lot of love and respect for the moderate resorts and think that a lot of them could be worth that price point depending on what you're after. I think the royal guest rooms are immersive and well themed, really add that extra level of magic to your trip that your kids are going to love. The standard rooms at French Quarter might be pretty basic, but the resort isn't overly expansive, so it feels more quaint while still keeping the Disney Springs proximity at its disposal. Also, those rooms are all getting renovated, and those are really, really nice renovations. And, you know, I have my own beef with Caribbean Beach's rooms. The buildings at Caribbean Beach don't have elevators, so if you're lugging around a stroller during your trip and you're placed on the second floor, you're looking at having to carry that stroller awkwardly up and down the steps every day, along with anything else you have to tow with you, like the actual baby. Now, for those cases, you may want to take the extra effort to request a room on the ground floor. You can make room requests at not just Caribbean Beach, but any Disney World resort during online check-in using the My Disney Experience app or the Disney World website. You can also call the Disney Resort Hotel Reservations hotline to make your room request known from there. Your requests aren't guaranteed, but Disney will try their best to make it happen for you. Now, regardless, Caribbean Beach can still be a nice spot to stay that'll put you right on the Skyliner route, making it super convenient. Though there are cheaper Skyliner room options over at Pop Century and Art of Animation, I'm just saying. And they have elevators. Anyway, over at Coronado Springs, I love the standard tower rooms, which are sophisticated and they keep you close to several of the resort's main amenities. There's lots of great food options there. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But something that's a hang up for me, and this might just be a me thing, I get it, but there's something to be said for staying at a hotel where there are indoor hallways. Like if you're staying at any other moderate resort besides Grand Destino Tower, you are going to have outdoor hallways. You're going to walk out your room and you're going to be outside. It's a motel. And so there's just something that makes it feel more sophisticated and more worth the money if you're in a building with inside hallways. But remember, those indoor hotel room doors are only available at Gran Destino Tower. So if you book a room anywhere else in Coronado Springs, you're going to be in one of those motel-like rooms. Okay, that was a lot. We went through a lot just then. Are we all okay? Everybody all right? Okay, perfect. If you have any questions, let us know down in the comments. We will absolutely be looking for those to answer them. Okay, so let's talk about why people love staying at moderate resorts. Mods can get a bad rap. And I probably didn't just help out any when I talked about those price points, but I promised I'd be honest, and here I am, fulfilling that promise. Now, if you're looking at the glass half empty, you might see these resorts as more expensive than a value, but not nearly as involved as a deluxe hotel, and that's not necessarily wrong, but let's flip the script instead and see the glass half full. Moderate resorts are less expensive than a deluxe hotel and more involved than a value hotel. There, that's better. Many of the moderate resort benefits will overlap with the value resorts and deluxe resort benefits. This includes early theme park entry, which allows you to enter any parks on any days 30 minutes before they open to the rest of the public. Everybody who stays at a Disney hotel gets that. Daily resort activities, which you can find listed on a schedule out in the lobby or near the feature pool, or by asking the front desk cast member. Recreational facilities like volleyball courts and basketball courts and jogging trails. And starting in 2025, everybody who stays at a Disney hotel will receive a free water park day at one of Disney's water parks, either Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon, whichever is open at the time, but only on your check-in day. Now, each moderate resort also has special benefits and offerings for you to check out as well. We'll get into the restaurants and pools next, since those subjects deserve their own points, but here are some of the unique activities you're going to find across the moderate hotels. At Port Orleans Riverside and French Quarter, you can pay to go on a horse-drawn carriage ride or rent bikes, including Surrey bikes, or try out some catch and release bass fishing. At Caribbean Beach, you can also go fishing on a guided excursion, or you can lounge your day away on a beachside hammock just to take things easy breezy for a bit. There are a couple hammocks at Port Orleans too, just FYI. And at Coronado Springs, now that I think about it. Also at Coronado Springs, you can sign up for a Colors of Coronado painting experience, a Spanish mosaic art workshop, or you can make reservations for Sangria University, which takes place at Three Bridges Bar and Grill, and not only tells you about the history of sangria, but also teaches you how to make the ones you can order inside the bar itself. And Coronado Springs also has the added perk of having fitness centers. They actually have 2 fitness centers. Now, no other moderate resort has a fitness center. Only deluxe resorts have fitness centers except for Coronado Springs, which has 2 fitness centers as a moderate resort. And again, that's mostly because this is a convention resort. Are you ready to eat? I am ready to eat. Let's move on to the best places to dine. So moderate resort dining has really been growing on me these past few years. And one moderate resort in particular has the best moderate resort dining, bar none. But out of the 5 mods, let me go ahead and rank them in order for you from least impressive dining to most impressive dining. In the last place, we have got, are you surprised, Caribbean Beach. To be fair, the restaurants have seen slight improvements over the past few years. Sebastian's Bistro does have one of the most affordable prefix menus on property, and Banana Cabana is a fun, quirky pool bar with lots of fruity drink options. And it also has a much cheaper version of the signature bread pudding that Ohana has over at Polynesian Village Resort. So do what you will with that information. Otherwise, if the Caribbean Beach options aren't doing it for you, you can always hitch a ride on the Skyliner and hit up other restaurants at those nearby resorts and the parks. In third place, we've got, very surprisingly, French Quarter. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, AJ, I know they have the Mickey beignets. I know they have that great jambalaya. They've got all that good Cajun food. Why would you put this in third place? The reason why I'm putting it in third place is because they don't have a table service restaurant here. Now, I know Caribbean Beach has a table service, but overall, Caribbean Beach still has worse food options altogether. But that's why. But honestly, you could, if you wanted to, you could interchange Port Orleans, French Quarter, and Riverside here on my ranking list if it makes you feel better. Anyway, French Quarter's food court, Sasagula Floatworks and Food Factory, is way more adventurous with their options than you're going to find at other food courts. Granted, these more adventurous items alongside all the standard food court eats do rotate out seasonally, but you might be able to find options like shrimp and grits and create your own protein bowls or gumbo and cornbread depending on when you visit. French Quarter is also our go-to spot for those beignets. Yep, you know about them. You've got a variety of options of Mickey beignets. You even have boozy beignets there. And you're going to get those at Scat Cats Club Lounge and Scat Cats Club Cafe. Now, the main difference between those two, the lounge is a sit-down spot only, open in the evenings with live jazz music featured on the weekends. And the cafe is open all day long for beignets on the go. Now, honestly, you could just fill me up with beignets and beignets alone, and I'd probably be good to go. But it is worth mentioning that French Quarter doesn't have a full-on table service restaurant, right? So you're either going to have to take a stroll over to Riverside or take a boat over to Disney Springs for their hundreds of unique dining options. Okay, in second place or third place, however you want to fix it, we've got Port Orleans Resort Riverside. Now, along with Boatwright's Dining Hall, the resort's sole table service that serves up Southern specialties, Riverside does also have a food court option, much like French Quarter does. But if you're not into foods like jambalaya and pimento cheese fritters, you might still want to jump on a boat and head over to Disney Springs. Now, there are burgers, there are chicken strips, there's plenty of stuff here. Don't worry, your picky eaters are going to be fine. And I will be honest, the jambalaya here is like my favorite thing ever. I mean, when I was staying at Port Orleans Riverside recently, even though I had already eaten dinner, I still went to the food court late at night and got the jambalaya. Anyway, it's just so good. Now, speaking of those pimento cheese fritters, they have them at Boatwright's, but they also have them at River Roost Lounge. Now, this is the lounge for Boatwright's, basically. It's got Yeehaw Bob. He has entertained audiences for decades at River Roost. He's got a piano/comedy show. People really, really love it. They go to this resort specifically for that show. And while there's not a huge menu of food options here, and Yeehaw Bob only performs on certain nights, typically Wednesdays through Saturdays, when you can come here for the show and the drinks and the pimento cheese fritters, it's a really good time. Now, taking home the title of Best Food at a Moderate Resort, Coronado Springs. Of course, by far and away, CSR and Sandestino Tower have the best dining options across the moderate resorts and the most plentiful dining options. With multiple lounges, a rooftop restaurant, a sports bar, a table service option on the lake, a food court, all your dining needs will be more than satisfied all vacation long. And they serve Dole Whip here too. Just head to the El Mercado de Coronado food court to pick up whatever seasonal Dole Whip flavor is available at the time of your visit. This is a great place for food. It wasn't always, but it is now. Okay, are you ready to plan a pool day? Finally, I've been waiting to talk about this one. The moderate resorts have some really cool pools with impressive theming and ultra fun features. Over at Port Orleans, you have a really fun advantage no matter whether you choose to stay in the Riverside or the French Quarter section. While pool hopping is usually not allowed between resorts, you can do that. You can pool hop between the Port Orleans pool options when you're staying as a guest at either hotel, meaning you can explore the abandoned sawmill at Old Man Island in Riverside or slide down the Sea Serpent at Doubloon Lagoon in French Quarter, or check out any of the 5 leisure pools for a more chillax experience. Now, while you're not going to be able to do any pool hopping at Caribbean Beach, you'll probably be more than satisfied to hang around in the Fuentes del Moro pool, which is inspired by colonial Spanish fortresses. Lots of cool cannons. Love this place. And here you can ride not 1, but 2 water slides, and you can also fire those water cannons at unsuspecting swimmers. All in good fun. Not too keen on getting suddenly sprayed by water cannons? Okay, well, there are 5 other leisure pools you can check out too for a little more R&R and less yo-ho action. But I think my favorite moderate resort pool has got to be the Lost City of Cibola pool at Coronado Springs. Can't miss it. It's got this giant pyramid with water trickling down the steps, and then the rest of the pool falls in line with the theme of Mayan ruins. Want to slide down the spirit of a jaguar? At this pool, your niche dreams can be fulfilled. And not too far from the pool, you'll find the largest hot tub in all of Disney World. This is also the only hot tub you're going to find across any of the moderate resorts, making it even more special. So Coronado Springs, sangria, Dole Whips, and giant hot tubs, indoor hallways, they've got everything. Okay, so we wanted to keep this a little bit shorter, but what do you think? Does a Disney moderate hotel fit you like a glass slipper fits Cinderella, or does it feel all wrong, like a glass slipper and an ugly stepsister? You're not an ugly stepsister. Remember, there are so many Disney hotels you can potentially choose from, though. We're doing these series of videos where we're talking about the values, the moderates, and the deluxes for you, trying to detail everything so we can help you. Listen, we've all been there. We've all been there trying to figure out what Disney hotel we need to stay at when we're literally spending spending multiple mortgage payments on this vacation. So this is why we do what we do here at DFB is we stay at all the hotels. We make sure to give you all the nitty-gritty details so that you can figure out what's going to be perfect for you. So if you want to start getting into those nitty-gritty details, go ahead and get our free Every Disney Hotel Guide. You can get it right now at disneyfoodblog.com/hotels. And it is a great starting point and, to be honest, a great ending point, because if there's one thing I can't do, it's be brief. So we have a lot of information in these guides that we put together. I don't like to leave anything out. So definitely go check that out. It's totally free. And again, ask any questions you have in the comments. We want to answer them for you because, again, I know this costs so much money and I do not want you to choose the wrong hotel. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.